Hello there, friends, and welcome to the demo for Cliff Kingdom. The developers actually put this on my radar. They just dropped me a line at my email, which was great because I'd never heard of it. And they just said, yeah, we've got a Steam page going live, demo in a few days. Just wanted to put it on the radar. No expectations or anything, which was super cool. So I stuck it on the wish list, and it's the demo's out. A few things that I've just had a look at that I really quite like. First of all, it's recognised the fact that I'm using a PlayStation controller, which I appreciate. We've got rebindings, which is cool. Audio sliders are a bit basic right now, as are the graphics options, but this is good stuff. The accessibility options, such as they are, or as I'm sure some people might call them, the tuning options, because accessibility really is this kind of stuff. Accessibility realistically is colorblind and so on and so forth. The audio features for hard of hearing and so on and so forth. These make the game, quote unquote, more accessible for players who essentially just want to tune the difficulty for themselves. So we've got various things that can be tuned. Environmental damage can go on and off. Enemy respawn. Anyone saving. Corpse run. You can just turn corpse runs off if you want to, or you can lose all your currency on death. And you'll notice that when you select the options that are the defaults, it actually switches the difficulty thing back at the top to normal. That's really good quality of life, and I really appreciate it. I don't know what light is on enemy death, but anyway, that's a really good, for me, set of difficulty tuning options. I'm going to leave them all on normal for now, so that I can see what the game's default is actually like. But I appreciate that those options are there. We've got a few options. I'm obviously going to stick with English because I am monolingual. Let's see what Cliff Kingdom is like. Hatch. Oh, okay. Now I'm blind. Okay, we are starting off with a wall jump, which is quite unusual. Sound effects are quite loud, but we can access audio settings in the game, which I appreciate. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I suspect many people who are surprised that I've taken this long to do it. The main character, I like the design, but they look kind of pixely, and they look kind of pixely because the line art for the protagonist is not the same scale or thickness as the line art for other stuff in the world. This is, I guess it's a pet peeve of mine because I bring it up all the time, and I'm sure long-term viewers who watch a lot of my Metrovania videos are probably sick of hearing it, but it really adds to the coherence of the world if... Have I got a mouse cursor? Oh, we do have a mouse cursor. That's handy. See the line art down here, and the line art on this, and the line art on this, and the line art on that, and compare it to the line art on him, and it just... In fact, I'm going to have to shift my microphone a second. Yeah, he just looks... I hope the capture's picking this up. The problem is that the capture is going to be 1440p, because that's what I record everything in. But the game is running at 4K. But he's kind of shimmery, because the line art is so fine that at 4K he's so small that it's not actually picking up properly. Let's see if it zooms in elsewhere. No, can you see the kind of shimmeriness to him? And that's because we're too far zoomed out for the thinness of the line. Right, this is probably going to break some stuff. I don't know what engine this is in, so fingers crossed this doesn't die. It's a Unity game. Interesting. It's a Unity game that doesn't seem to like alt-tabbing. Ooh. There we go. Yeah, that is unusual. Let's get rid of that cursor. Okay, it looks like I can hit. That says L2 demo. That's cool. So we can actually just grab on and hold the button down. So the levels are going to have to be designed with that in mind, which is interesting. You know, if you've got that as a power from the very start. Climb. Slide down. Yeah. Oh, climb around corners. Nice. You don't see that as a mechanic very often. Which is kind of weird, because it used to be used all the time in kind of old-fashioned. Ah, there's a stamina gauge. Okay, a weird note. Falling doesn't use stamina. Sliding down a wall uses up more stamina than climbing. Now, obviously it's a video game, and logic doesn't always apply, but why does it take more stamina to climb down a wall, to slide down a wall, than it does to climb up a wall? I suppose you could argue that it takes a lot of energy to slow you down versus gravity, but anyway, the minor weirdness that my brain notices. Cool enemy design. But you'll notice that the enemy had slightly thicker artwork, and therefore it wasn't as shimmery. I think just because it's ever so slightly bigger. And And the same goes for him. He's got nice, thick outline. It's just the character. That's a really cool pit graphic, by the way. Oh, ah! Oh, shoot, there's a... Right. I don't know whether that white flashiness is going to happen every time we get hit, but I can't say I'm a fan of that. Broken? I fix? You break, I fix. Okay. I noticed we've got some little light bulbs on our UI in the corner. Yeah. All of this line art is great, except the protagonists. Lightkeeper apostrophe scrapbook. The scrapbook of the Lightkeeper, or potentially the scrapbook of the Lightkeepers, in which case Lightkeepers S apostrophe. Collect all your scraps in one place. See all items in scrapbook. No map for this location yet. So this is the world map screen. The devs actually sent me a little preview of the artwork for this, just as kind of the hello email, which I thought was super cool. I'm not going to spoil that for anybody else, but it was one of the reasons why I, put the game on the old follow and wish list on Steam, just because I really like this art style. I do want to find a save point. I want to find a save point because before I carry it on, I want to check something. I want to check something about this line art, because otherwise I'm just going to keep on going on about it. And I'm probably just going to go on about it anyway. Wow, this is a long way down. Aha, it's save points. Okay, let's see, first of all, does the game save properly? Yes, it does. Okay, I want to go and test something as it relates to the camera. So I'm going to try that, and if it works... Be right back. The music cuts out there for some reason. Be right back.
The very next evening.
Okay, we're back. I tried for about an hour with various different installs of the Unity things that I normally use for controlling the camera and so on and so forth. And then I tried with stuff that I'd never heard of before, and I couldn't for the life of me get anything to hook into the game without just crashing the entire thing. All I wanted to do was see what happens if I zoom in closer to the playable character, because I feel like that is part of the problem with this shimmering effect. I just wanted to see whether that fixes it, but unfortunately I've not been able to do so. If we just take a quick look at the sprite work, the line work, the texture work, whatever you want to call it, for Mothboy, This is how it looks in the files. So that is the size that it is drawn at. And you can see that it's got some pretty crisp line artwork. It's a little bit scratchy, but it is full of really, really fine detail. And the problem with that fine detail is that I just don't think it scales particularly well when it is scaled down on the game. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird situation. So apologies for taking so long out of this video. Oh god. The other thing that the game just doesn't do is alt tab well. I do not know why it doesn't alt tab well, but it doesn't at all. It just breaks constantly. There's no borderless full screen. So it is a case of... is this going back the way that I came? Is this the way we came from? It's been several hours at this point. So... I really like the way... I mean, I just pointed at the screen. That's really helpful. Well done, professional YouTuber. I really like... Where's my mouse cursor? Here we go. I really like this. The way that certain pieces of scenery light up and are lit up by the light in the world. I assume it's a mechanic because you are a moth. And therefore it makes sense that light will play a role either aesthetically or actually mechanically. Closed. Yes, the one thing that you'll have been able to tell from the sprite sheet, or you might not have been able to tell, depending on how much you know about these things, but the main character is very clearly a spline-based. Yeah, we've very clearly got spline-based, or spline-style-based animation, at least. And because I don't have a map, and because it's been several hours, because I ended up having to go and do something else, am I just heading back towards where we woke up? No, that's a giant whale, and I think I would probably have remembered that if this was all but a dream. Alas, it's not. Rotting from the insides, the dark light infesting me. The body devouring itself while the mind churns fresh thoughts. Perhaps there is a way through. If I could please end this misery of mine. A lightkeeper's vow? Yeah, not entirely sure what they were getting at there. So yes, anyway, my point was, spline-based animation is great for characters that you want kind of big, exaggerated animations for, or potentially because you are going to change some part of the character sprite at some point and you want to be able to swap it out with a different piece of artwork. All of that is good. But, Lightkeeper's lantern, a vessel for storing pure lumen, has many purposes. So we've got a scrapbook and a lantern. And a dead dude. Bring out lantern. Oh, I see. So... Okay. Ooh, that transition's a bit weird. Do some work on that. Okay, so we... Oh, what the fuck is that? There are things above us. I'm guessing Susol's a fake wall. We can't get up there, can we? Though we can. No. So anyway, my point such as it has been trying to make it over the course of about 20 minutes and 2 days, is that I would like to see this character thickened up a bit in terms of its line art, so that we don't have this shimmery effect essentially on a 4K screen at the scale that I am looking at, which might not even show up on the recording because I'm recording at 1440p. The detail on the character is just too fine to actually render out properly at this scale. To give you, again, I'm really sorry to go off on tangents like this. To give you an example from something that I've been doing recently, I recently made a map for a game called Elementalists, which is a 2D top-down Zelda-like. Really enjoyable game for the most part, but there was no way that I was going to go through and do literal hundreds and thousands of screenshots to stitch a map together. So I used the Unity tools that I've got to open up the game and to zoom out of the camera. And if I zoomed out too far, then it would lose pixel detail and it would do this. It would start to look like that because the number of pixels that were required were actually fewer than the number of pixels that I had on screen. I discovered that if I was to take the entire game window and zoom the camera out to minus 185.5, then for the most part, I could get pixel to pixel perfection for the most part. So 1 pixel in the game's actual artwork equals 1 pixel in terms of what the camera is trying to show. What I think we've got here is a camera that is trying to show more detail than it's actually been given the ability to do, and why I wanted to try grabbing the camera and moving in slightly was to see whether this shimmeriness, because you can see it on the glove there, the way the edges shimmer, and that is just because we're too far out for the level of detail that we've got drawn on this character. You either need, you either need to, I think, zoom the camera in some more, or, and this is the awkward one, to redraw this character with less detail and thicker line art, so that if this is the level of zoom that you know you are going for, you design the artwork around that, because right now it looks out of place. It looks almost like it's overly sharpened just on this character. If any of you played Super Roboy. Oh, thanks AMD Auto Update. I really wanted that to pop up then. If any of you played Super Roboy, you'll know that that's also a Unity game, and it has this slightly sharp post-processing style thing to it, which really helps with the game's performance. In the playtest version of it, the entire game kind of looked like this because it was so processed, and things were, there was so much stuff being done to really help with the game's performance that it actually kind of made the aesthetic look a little bit whack. And whilst I really like this line art for everything, and I really like the line art on the sprite sheet for this character, the character does not look good like this. And I'm going to shut up about this now because I've hopefully made my point, and it could simply be a case of, yeah, we already know it's in the works and so on and so forth. That is a decent feeling pogo, which is important. It's also quite a generous pogo. I don't know how I feel about the music kicking in all the time for when you are aggroed. I can see... Bring back to a safe spot. Interesting. So that is a little bit like the... Oh, what were they called? Xerxes coins? Xerxes coins, I think, in Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, where you had to go and grab them and then bring them back to safe terrain. Obviously, that one was a fairly simple one. I imagine they could get more complicated if they're going to do the Xerxes route, because they definitely got more complicated in The Lost Crown. Yeah, and I'm not going to say problem, but the thing about 2 blue down, 2 yellow up. Okay. I don't like this. And this is not... In fact, this is going... This needs to go on my website. Again, I don't mean to go on a soapbox here, but I'm gonna. For those of you who don't know, I run a Metroidvania game website where I put all my maps up, but there's also a page on there where I talk about the things that I like and dislike in Metroidvanias, or in games in general, actually, and this needs to go on there. Stuff in the foreground that obscures your view of a character. And I do mean, like... Excuse me? I do mean, like, properly obscures you. Admittedly, this is... You can see a little bit of our head. I don't like stuff getting in the way. If you want stuff in the way, that's fine, but at least show us the outline of our character. Nothing up here. Huh. Interesting piece of level design. There's a lighthouse this way. Oh no! I'm sorry, mate. Okay, so you can hit basically everything, and he will run away from you. Now, normally, if I were just playing this normally rather than constantly soapboxing, as I have done so in this video, normally I'd have a pretty decent idea of where I am and what's going on and so forth. But as of right now, I'm utterly lost because I've been playing the game over the course of ouch. That's kind of a cool animation, although I will say I am not a huge fan of the giant flash of lights. I am not epileptic, but I foresee that being an issue. Badger? Possibly. Where are you going, mate? I'm intrigued by that dude. Ah, right, now we can do this, can't we? Or was this the way that we came in? Wonderful. Well done, me. That was amazing. Platforming skills. Are we going... Obviously, if I got a map, I'd be able to check, but this is entirely on me. Can I stop being bad at some points today? That'd be super cool. Probably not going to happen. Oh, we are low on health. Yeah, I like the way the light bulbs on the UI flicker and stuff. I would say that that's actually quite a good use of chromatic aberration. Okay, we've definitely not been here because that tree ordered me to attack it. And I would undoubtedly have listened to the tree previously. Kind of weird in terms of level design that we have essentially the same thing in 2 rooms in a row. But it's possible that it's just here as demo stuff. Ah, I know what's missing. We're missing an impact sound on the enemy. You know, they make a noise, but the sword doesn't. It doesn't make a sound of hitting them. Oh, hello. Ah, there is a fresh one born, I see. Still young, still in your first state of being, your blessed newborn form. No wings, no light, but maybe still strong enough to find my pups, my Jacks and Jills, my dear Joys, all lost. I will certainly try. See, giant line art versus too zoomed out line art. Take that, attack tree. Oh, we can't get up there. Oh, we can't get over there. But yeah, you can see that the line art's really nicely drawn. Little bit too much screen shake. Okay, this is possibly a mistake. It was. It looked like there was going to be something hidden down there. Oh, there's an enemy there. Yeah, you hear how there's no impact sound effects. But again, that's, I imagine the whole point of putting a demo out is to get feedback from people as to... Yeah. That's what's been missing. Every time I've been like striking an enemy, it's like it's like this is working, but something's missing. What is it? It's like the screen's shaking, the controller's rumbling, the enemy's making a clear visual indicator that they've been hit. Why isn't this landing for me? Why is it not clicking? Because there's no sound effect. The enemies don't sound like they are being hit. You can hear them shriek, but the sword doesn't contact. You know, it's hitting the floor. We've even got different sound effects for different things that are being hit, but one of those things is not flesh. There's a little tink. I think maybe that might be a kind of low thud sound, like really down low in the kind of tonal range. But I play with the sound reasonably turned down so that I can hear myself think. Map found. Ah! Oh! Okay. Well, this is different. It feels like I get stuck. Yeah, so it sticks to the markers for quite some time. I don't know what the purpose of that is. We've got custom markers. How far can we zoom in? I'm not entirely sure I'm ever going to need to zoom in that far to a map with this little detail. I don't mean that condescendingly. Incidentally, you know, there's detail enough here for me to navigate at this kind of distance. I don't think I'm ever going to need to zoom in that far. Which means that you probably don't need to draw the map at that scale. Yeah, something more like that would probably be okay for the maximum, and then you could get yourself some performance headroom. Where am I? Does it show us where we are? Also, is there a quick... Oh! The D-pad changes my light colour. I don't know if it's supposed to do that, if that's something that we might unlock later, but it's certainly working now. Are we here? Are we here? Ah, we might be here. Yes. So we've got no, in fact... Does the map update? No. Okay, so we've got the start of a tool to aid our navigation, but it doesn't actually show us where we are. And I'm not a massive fan of the fact that we have to hit 2 buttons to get to the actual map screen. So if that's right, then this is the stoat or whatever it was. Oh, I had a collect prompt. Okay, so this is here, I think, is the overhang, so we can't get through there. I mean, it's something, but it's probably not quite enough. Oops. Yeah, well. Yeah, so I assume I'm climbing up here? Why did that not grab? Yeah, I would be very, very careful as regards the flashes of light. You will need at least some kind of option to turn them off. Yeah, for people who this won't affect, for people who aren't epileptic or who aren't sensitive to bright lights and flashbangs and so on and so forth, you know, by all means, do not deny them the experience of being randomly blinded when you get hit. But I would much rather have that significantly toned down for the long-term health of my eyes. I'm sure some people say, oh, just don't play it then. And yeah, that is a fair enough thing to suggest. Right, save points. So we are here? Which means if I go this way and down... Oh, but this is where the laser beam is. So we can't get through the laser beam. Okay, there's a question mark over there. Yeah. So in terms of UI design, we have got 2 buttons that need pressing, or a button that needs pressing twice in order to access the map. The map doesn't show our location on it. I feel like I've been through here before. We have, haven't we? Okay, that's going to be there. And then this is this room with the question mark at the end. And the question mark is the whale. Okay. I would like, realistically, a way of... I think, considering you've clearly got the way, the option of putting markers on, once you've talked to these NPCs, I'd probably turn that into a whale. I don't actually know where I'm going or what I'm doing. I think that mushroom that gave me the collect option got collected anyway. I think it's one of the 3 that I've got over the side of the screen. Okay, so I think we're here now. So if we go left... Oh, this is this room. We couldn't get through here. Am I to assume that all of the areas on this map are places that we have been to and that they will get drawn in? Okay, yes. Oh, Jesus Christ. Meine eyes. Just don't get hit, Emma. Get good. Again, not showing us where we are and centering the map on where we are. Oh, that's so much screen shake. Oh yeah, I can do that. Okay, so I'm now... I think I'm here? And I think now I'm here. And this takes me up. But that's locked. Yeah, see, there's a mouse dude there, but... as far as I know, I can't get to him. And is this where we started the game? This is the problem with not having had a map from the start. Yeah. I feel like I don't have any landmarks. And because I haven't had any landmarks... Jesus! I don't actually know where I'm going. I assume I need to get past here. But we've just gone round in a big old loop, and I'm not really getting anywhere. Unless there's a mechanic that I've missed because I played the first bit of the demo yesterday. Is that... yeah, okay. I feel like I'm getting tinnitus from that ringing sound in the background of the aggroed music. Okay, so now I'm here? Yes. Yeah, so that's the gate that we put down. That's the stoat. Okay, and this should be... aha! That's... oh! That's one of the babies? A possum soul. Trapped soul of a small opossum. See all items in scrapbook. I'm assuming that's something to do with that NPC? Okay. Right, that does that. But that doesn't actually help us get anywhere, does it? It's just given us a shortcut. It's just given us a path over the top. We still can't reach that. We can't get through there. Can't go down there. It looks like the custom marker that I put has disappeared. That was the whale. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to leave it there. Because I've given that probably an hour or so once I put the two halves of this footage together. I like the artistic style of the map, but its usability is not great right now. I like the amount of detail it's giving us. I can clearly see the shapes of the rooms, but I will say that the rooms are lacking in recognizable landmarks. I think having to go to the world map and then go into the area map is the wrong way round. I think Select should bring up the area map and then we can zoom out to the world map if we want to. I really like the artwork for the world map, but that should not be the focus. The actual usability and navigation of the map should be, in my opinion, obviously, this should be the default, and I should have an option of pressing, I don't know, triangle or another button in order to swap to the world map view. I think that now I've finally figured it out that yes, the sound effects for hitting an enemy, there needs to be a contact sound effect. Maybe there is a really low thud, but if there is, that doesn't actually have the kind of impact that you need. And weirdly enough, I think the camera shake in certain places could probably do with toning down a little bit. I'm not going to talk anymore about the nature of the actual character sprite and how it looks kind of pixely and overly sharpened, and I'm sure there's a word for what it's doing, but in a world, the world looks really nice. Everything is well drawn, well coloured, nice and coherent for the most part in terms of its line thickness, and then the character stands out for the wrong reasons. I think it just, if it's going to stay this size, I think it needs less detail in order to get to not have this flickering effect. And yeah, in terms of what is my goal, this could be entirely on me. But I think right now, as a showcase for what you're going for, I like the climbing on the walls and hanging from stuff. That is a mechanic that isn't utilised all that often, especially not from the start of a game. So if you recall, Mummy Demastered, one of the first things that you got was the ability to hang from ceilings. And obviously in certain Metroid games, you can do that as well. But yeah, some potential here. That's my feedback and those are my thoughts so far. Apologies if I've kind of rambled a lot. I really do feel like I haven't made a whole lot of progress because I've been focusing on technical and aesthetic and gameplay things rather than actually, oh yeah, I'm just going to get through the demo. I confess though, I don't really know where I'm going, and this map hasn't helped all that much. And neither has playing the game in two parts. But anyway, that is a look at the demo for Cliff Kingdom. Lots of potential. Accessibility options, lack of blindingness, Gain light on enemy death. So light is our healing stuff. So that allows us to heal more, or we could get more if we're struggling. The way the game doesn't alt-tab properly is a bit weird. I'd really like that to be, spruced up as well. But yes, that was the whole point. It's a demo. That is what I think of it in the state that it is in so far. Apologies that I haven't been able to finish it. I just feel like I'm kind of wandering around at this point, and I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be doing, and that's probably on me. But this video it's kind of long enough. So there we go. Have yourselves a great day, folks. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting as always. And I'll catch you on in the next video. Cheerio. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not click the like button and consider subscribing. Remember, you can ring the bell notification icon to get notified when new videos go live. And until next time, cheerio.